Hey. During this lecture, we will explore the three fundamental elements that comprise the transmission of Zen. The transmission always involves the teacher, the teaching, and the taught. Without recognizing and embracing this fundamental concept, it is impossible to express anything truly meaningful about Zen. This is the Gatha of the Tao of teaching, learning the Zen way. Your Sifu is always right. That does not mean that you are always wrong. The way is just threefold. Engaging in arguments. The way is lost. Having no need to quarrel. The way is found. Zen practice typically begins with being a student and learning from a teacher. As time passes and generations change, the student can eventually become the teacher. This transition can occur quickly in response to life's various circumstances. Having a skilled teacher who can illuminate the path is invaluable in Zen practice. Even though the teaching always remains constant, it's very fortunate to find a teacher who possesses various means and techniques to guide their students towards the other shore. In this chapter, I will offer insights into the key concepts of Zen philosophy by elaborating on some crucial points in this poem. Let's start by exploring the concept of a Sifu. A Chinese Sifu is a master of martial arts. Sifu is a word in Cantonese that means father or master. The Sifu's job is to teach students the knowledge and skills of Kung Fu. They are highly experienced in their specific style of Kung Fu and have a deep understanding of the philosophy, principles, and techniques of the art. Since I am leaning heavily towards the Chinese version of Zen, I decided to use the term Sifu. Sensei would direct the reader towards the Japanese characteristic of Zen, and the term teacher would bring up associations of being a child schooled by a classical Western teacher. In addition to teaching techniques, the Sifu serves as a mentor and guide to their students, helping them develop discipline, focus, and a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. Many Sifus are respected members of their communities and serve as role models and sources of inspiration for their students. The Sifu is the one person who is willing to go further for the sake of the art to ensure its future. It is not the goal of the Sifu to just be the best no matter what. That would be an unevenly distributed goal. Besides being a role model within the art, the Sifu strives to be a role model when the lessons are over, always trying to better humanity by sharing and promoting the art for the sake of the art and not for mere personal gains. As the Sifu is intimately connected to the world of Kung Fu, allow me to illuminate this fascinating art. Kung Fu is an ancient Chinese martial art that has its roots in the Shaolin Temple of Henan Province. It is a discipline that emphasizes not just physical strength and agility, but also mental focus and spiritual growth. The connection between Kung Fu and Buddhism dates back to the early days of the Shaolin Temple, where the two traditions became intertwined. The Shaolin Temple was founded in the 5th century by an Indian monk named Bodhidharma, who is also known as Da-Mo in Chinese. Bodhidharma was a master of a form of Indian Buddhism known as Chen, which was later adopted in China and became what we know today as Zen. He is credited with bringing Chen to China and with laying the foundation for Kung Fu. Over time, Kung Fu and Buddhism developed a close relationship. The practice of Kung Fu was seen as a way to train the body and mind, and to cultivate the same kind of discipline and focus that was required for the practice of Buddhism. Many of the Shaolin monks were skilled martial artists, and they used their skills to defend the temple against attackers and to spread the teachings of Buddhism. Today, Kung Fu is still practiced by millions of people around the world, both as a martial art and as a way to cultivate physical, mental, and spiritual health. Its connection to Buddhism remains strong, and many Kung Fu schools incorporate Buddhist teachings and practices into their curriculum. The essence of this Gatha revolves around this concept. The teacher is the one who has already crossed this river and attained enlightenment. But what does this metaphor signify? When you reach the other shore, you do not need the raft. When you have the fish, you do not need the fishing rod. When you have the rabbit, you do not need the bow. The teacher, having already crossed the river, does not abandon their method of reaching the other shore, even if it is no longer necessary. Instead, they keep and refine it because it contains the means to liberate beings. This method can be likened to a raft or a boat that can help others cross the river to the other shore. In other words, the teacher embodies the skillful means needed to help guide others towards enlightenment. And just like a skilled boat builder, the teacher tailors their approach to the individual needs of their students, always adapting and refining their methods to suit the situation at hand. Thus, the teacher-student relationship is a crucial element in the path towards liberation. The student, like the seeker of the river, must have the fortune of discovering the destination in their mind and seeking the means to reach it. And in this journey, the teacher plays a vital role, acting as a guide and imparting the wisdom and skillful means necessary for the student to cross the river and attain enlightenment. The taught is the seeker, the one who aspires to cross the river. It is a state of mind already filled with great fortune to have already discovered the destination in one's mind and to seek the river. For some, this discovery may come easily, while others may spend their entire lives searching for it. But regardless of how one arrives at the river's edge, the discovery itself is a moment of great significance. Even more fortunate is the one who discovers the river itself. This moment is a turning point on the seeker's journey, as it marks the recognition of the actual path that will lead to the other shore. It is at this point that the seeker may realize that they cannot cross alone and may seek out a teacher to guide them. Indeed, the role of the teacher is crucial, for they have already crossed the river and can offer their wisdom to help others do the same. The teacher serves as an exemplar, showing the seeker the methods they use to cross the river themselves. And although the seeker may ultimately cross the river using a different method or approach, the teachings of the teacher are still valuable, for they have inherited the means to liberate beings. In the end, the journey is not just about crossing the river but also about the discovery of the other shore. The seeker must have a clear understanding of the goal they are striving for, a goal that transcends the limitations of the river and the raft used to cross it. This goal is represented by the other shore, which is ultimately beyond form, thought, and attachment. And while there is no actual other shore, as it is simply a metaphor for enlightenment, the journey itself is still worthwhile, as it leads to greater understanding and wisdom. Skillful means are the methods employed by a teacher to guide their students towards the great way of unification. This path is one of non-attachment, devoid of form and thought. It leads to the realization that there is no other shore, and that everything is already here and now. The teacher employs expedient means such as the rabbit, the fish, and the other shore to help their students navigate the journey. These means are tailored to each individual's needs, allowing them to traverse the path in the most effective way possible. However, it is important to remember that the true nature of the teacher is not different from that of the taught. While language and concepts may be used to point towards the truth, they can never fully express it. Expedient means are merely fingers pointing towards the moon, but never the moon itself. Despite their limitations, expedient means are still valuable tools for those on the path. They serve as reminders of the truth and help to guide us towards our ultimate goal. Now, let's explore the significance of plum blossoms. The teacher-student dynamic is clearly depicted in the picture, but what is the significance of the golden plum flower tree that is placed at the center of the painting? What is missing is the aspect of the teaching. Why may a plum flower tree be a good metaphor? In Chinese and Buddhist culture, the plum blossom occupies a significant place, carrying several meanings. In Chinese culture, the plum flower represents perseverance, resilience, and hope, as it is the first to bloom in winter, even in the harshest conditions. It also signifies beauty, elegance, and purity, as it has been a celebrated motif in Chinese art, literature, and poetry for centuries. In Buddhist culture, the plum blossom is linked to the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, who is often depicted holding a plum blossom. The flower is a symbol of the Bodhisattva's compassion, as its fragrance is believed to spread far and wide, bringing joy and happiness to all those who encounter it. Additionally, the plum blossom represents the Bodhisattva's ability to bloom amidst suffering, offering hope to those in distress. Furthermore, the plum blossom's colors, varying shades of pink and white, also carry significance. Pink is associated with love, femininity, and compassion, while white represents purity, enlightenment, and the Dharma. Overall, the plum blossom holds a special place in Chinese and Buddhist culture, embodying the qualities of resilience, beauty, compassion, and hope, offering inspiration and guidance to those who seek it. Consider the significance of to argue in this small Zen pearl of wisdom. Why does it hold such importance? To cultivate self-awareness, one must not engage in argumentation, as it only leads to confusion and hinders the path to enlightenment. The order of precedence in our understanding is not something to be debated, but rather something to be transcended. To do so, one must cease to distinguish between right and wrong, and instead focus on true self-awareness, unencumbered by self-imposed constructs. Furthermore, it is unwise to teach those who hold different views and lack the necessary resolve, as doing so may ultimately fail to benefit them. In such situations, it is best to refrain from imparting your knowledge, lest you cause harm to those who have come before you. Those who have been fortunate enough to receive the teachings of self-awareness are encouraged to simply put it into practice without engaging in arguments or debates. Such activities only serve to distract from the true path of the Great Way. To establish a fruitful teacher-student relationship, one must surrender themselves to the guidance of their teacher without engaging in arguments or harboring doubts. The teacher's role is to lead the student towards enlightenment, and it is crucial to trust and follow their teachings with complete faith and dedication. Through such submission to the wisdom of the teacher, one can open themselves to the possibility of genuine self-awareness and, ultimately, achieve enlightenment. In the realm of the teacher-student relationship, it is imperative to acknowledge that blind faith is not the ultimate goal. Surrendering to your teacher's wisdom and guidance is indeed vital, but it does not entail sacrificing your own discernment and acquired wisdom. It is important to recognize that a true teacher will not require you to place your trust in empty promises or abandon your personal truths. A skillful teacher is capable of utilizing established truths and building upon them to construct a vessel for crossing the river of understanding. Therefore, abstaining from argumentation does not equate to relinquishing your personal wisdom. Rather, it involves recognizing that the teacher-student relationship is based on mutual respect, trust, and a shared commitment to the journey towards enlightenment. Before we conclude, I would like to introduce myself to you. Hey. My name is Daniel, I am from Germany, thanks for listening to this lecture. Since the content of this video can be difficult to grasp at times, I've taken an unconventional approach. I've designed the video so that it can also be used as a printable document. This means that you can access and use it offline, or even print out selected pages. With this option, you can use your favorite pen to highlight, add to, or modify the text as you see fit. Now that I've shared my insights about how to approach Zen, I'm curious about your thoughts on it. How do you approach Zen? Do you have a teacher or do you allow life to unfold on its own until you become more gentle with age? Please share with us your own experiences and insights. I am not sure when my next Zen art piece will arrive, but I know it will come eventually. It may not interest many people, but I will create it regardless. Obtaining the right paper for my Zen art required a lot of effort, including working with mushrooms. However, the time I spend with mushrooms is minimal compared to the time I devote to Zen. Before we end, I would like to offer my empty bowl to you. I did put a lot of work into this lecture series. I hope you enjoy it. Maybe you want to consider to buy me a coffee? I do mention this unintentionally. There is a serious reason behind it. That is why I ask. Balance is present in all aspects of life, such as summer and winter, day and night, hot and cold, and more. Taking and giving is also a polarity that requires balance. Only when there is balance can we achieve true happiness and harmony. Therefore, if you take something, such as information from the internet, it is important to give something back. Take a moment to assess if your life is in balance. If you feel inclined, you can show your support by making a donation, and I would be grateful for it. However, there are many other worthwhile projects that you can support, such as Wikipedia. Support doesn't have to be monetary either, it can be as simple as sharing a smile or leaving a kind comment. Let's spread joy and love wherever we go. Thank you for spending your time with me. Auf Wiedersehen.